I have sent you in the chat there is a command that this is to install some packages that we will use. I think we'll have a time at the end of today to use tidyverse. The installation takes a while, so if you can do it now, and the installation can be done while we see the introduction to R. If you have any questions, yeah, please feel free to let me know. So in the case that you have already installed tidyverse, yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's the package that takes a long while with the installation. I think the other packages are installed are used at some point, but yes, don't worry about that. I mean, the important one is the tidyverse. So let me check. Okay, so I think we can start with the lesson. Yes, just to, yesterday was a little bit more introductory. The idea of yesterday is to understand how data should be managed, or how the tools that we have to make the data cleaner or more tidy using, for example, OpenRefine, or we use Spreadsheets to see how the to see the data, or to introduce data change, etc. And also we learned like good practices, like keep the raw data raw, and if we do some modifications, save the data, the clean data in another file. And today what we will see is R. That R is a programming language that we will use for to create some scripts. It has a lot of features that can handle uh, big files of data. Also, is very good for plotting. You want to plot some results for a paper, or for a, yeah, an article, or for the internet, is quite powerful. So let's. What I will do is I will just to let you know that, okay, today's lesson is, I will copy that in the chat. This is the lesson that we will see today and tomorrow. The idea is I will share my RStudio window, and we will go through the commands and learn a little bit more about R. But okay, first I will let me share my screen. I think I will. Mm, okay, I think it's that one. Make this a little bit bigger. So the first part is a little bit of a theory about what is R Studio. R is the programming language that we will learn today, and R Studio is the graphical user interface that we will use to type the commands in R, and also we can create a project and we can have an save the files. Is quite also for to get some help is quite good. We'll see that soon. But okay, this is a little bit why learn R. Uh, they said that R does involve lots of pointing and clicking, and that's a good thing. It is what we explained yesterday. That, for example, if we use Excel, OpenOffice, we need to remember, like, please click in this menu, select this option. In this, please introduce this. Like, you have to write uh, a lot of instructions to do something. With R, we will see that we need to write a script, and this script can be reused anytime that we want. And also to send these instructions to other colleague or to publish them on the internet, they will be like more concise rather than please click on this button, click on this other button, because at the moment that, for example, you use a new version of the software, the instructions might change, but with R will not happen. So this is why it's explained later that R is great for reproducibility, because you have the script and you can execute the script anywhere, anytime. Also, the good thing of R that contains lots of packages that, for example, when you start getting more familiar with R and you want to develop something, at the beginning, I recommend you do a search using Google or any other search engine, because it's possibly be already installed. I mean, install the package will be already available. If you imagine that you want to work with some specific images, or you want to do some statistical analysis, uh, you may you may be lucky and have the package that already done, so you don't need to write again something that is already. Also, for data is quite flexible. You can have several like matrices, big size, and other data structures that also works with the spreadsheets, databases, produce high quality graphics that's good for journals or when you want to publish something. Also, R is quite a popular language. You can find lots of information on lots of answer questions on internet. Normally, when you search something in Google or any other search engine, you get an answer from Stack Overflow or even the R Studio community. Also, the advantage of R that is free, is open source and cross-platform, because for today I will use Linux, but for you that you may have a Windows or a Mac, it works the same. So that's the. So okay, now we'll start see how RStudio works. So I will switch my window. I forgot to mention, please, if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to interrupt me. Well, I mean, it's not an interruption. It's the idea is to be uh, yes. I mean, the idea of this course is that you ask as many questions as you may have, and yes, try to answer them. Okay, let's see if now it works. Well, okay, this is I think is the font big enough. I mean, normal, when you open RStudio, you have the main, you have four parts of the window. You have on the top left, you have the files. Well, here you have like the R script where you can write your script or the commands that you will execute. On the top right, you have environment. Environment is what the data that you have in main memory. That, for example, in this case, we have surveys, heights, and also you can see here you can see the content. You have also history, that is what we have executed. Well, connections and tutorial, but yes, the most important are environment and history, in case that you want to remember a command that you have already executed. On the bottom right, we have the files that are in our project. Also, in case that we have some plots, packages that are already installed, help, viewer, but well, we'll see that later. And in the bottom left, we have the R mm, command line where we can type the commands that we want to execute. First step that is to create a new, what we will do is we will create a new project. So you need to click in File, and it's a File, a New Project, and you get this new window that asks Create Project, and we will create the project in a new directory. So if we click on that, we click on New Project again, and I think, yeah, depending on the version that you have, this window could be different or not, but the directory name, we can say, don't know, DC dash Edinburgh, but you can select the directory name that you fancy. And the create project as a subdirectory of will select the desktop. So, or well, I mean, you can select the directory that you want. Is where the project will exist. So, yes, I think I don't forget anything. So let's just create a new. I know, because in my case I already had a new project. Well, a project open, so it closed the project and opened this one. So now we are in the DC Edinburgh. And also here on the bottom right, you can see that in my case I'm in Home, Desktop, DC Edinburgh, and you may see another path that is where you are. Also, because we don't have any open file, we see that window is like now takes the left part takes both top and bottom of the window. And what also is recommended, now that we have the project, we can create some folders to keep the project tidy. So we can create the folders that are two ways. We can click here in a new folder, and we can a new pop-up window will open that says please enter the new folder name, that we can type data, for instance, and we will have a new folder. But also we can do that using the command line, that this is R. So if we type dir from a directory, create. Also, that's the good thing of using RStudio, that for instance, I type dir, and if you get some suggestions here. So for example, if I press in direct create, also it tells you the the arguments that you can have. You can have a path, show warnings that by default is true, recursive that is false, and also the mode of that this is how for the permissions that the folder has. So okay, let's create the new directory. They will recall data underscore row. And now you see on the right, bottom right, you see that this folder is created. And I think okay, let's create another directory for the figures. What we can do is we can write again the create, or if we press the arrow that is pointing up, we can edit and say the create fig. Okay, so these are the three folders that we need for the lesson. We need the data row that we will download the data later. We need the data, and also we need the figure folder for the figures. We can have another folder for our scripts, but in this case we will have only one script, so we can have that script in the same project directory folder. So there is another command that this is useful to know in case that you are in the to know where your working directory is. That where if you use RStudio, you can see that is here, but if not, you can use get wd, that stands for working directory. And because it is a function, we needed to type some brackets, and you see that the working directory where I am is /home/ my username /desktop and /dc Edinburgh. That is the name of the project. Also, a thing that we will do is we will download the the script that we will use for the lesson. Let me find the okay. One moment. This is chat. Okay, I will copy in the chat the command that we needed to use. It's a little bit long. Maybe it's easier if you copy and paste. Okay, if you can execute that command on your here in this like in the console, paste. Okay, if you execute that command, now you can see on the bottom right, you can see the code handout. So you can click on that, and a new window will open with this code handout. Also, it's good to have I mean, the idea is that the commands that we will use during this lesson, we will type them in the code handout. And we can, when we finish, we can save them and we can remember what we have done. To execute, you can write something here in the, for instance, in line 4, we can type session info. And if we want to execute that command in the command line on the bottom, we needed to press Control Enter. And if you see that that jumps to the next line, but you see that at the bottom we have the output of session info. Why I executed that? Sometimes when when you have an issue with the R, you you ask for help. Sometimes you may be asked, please, could you send me the output of this command? Why? Because it gives you a lot of information about, tells you the R version, that in my case is a recent one, is 4.1. Also tells you the platform that is using Linux with the GNU, the 64-bit, the operating system, the use of Ubuntu, and also tells you for the libraries, some variables that you may have loaded, and also some packages that so it tells you the complete picture in case that you have an issue in R and need further help. Also, what is explained here in this sample, if you load, for those that you have this library installed, you can load that library RSQLite. So if you execute Control Enter, you execute that library. And now if you execute again a session info, you will see that the output changed. They said that this library is loaded on the system. This command that is here is to remove that library that is loading, but well, we'll execute that, but it's not quite useful. And now if we execute again session info, we see that the library is not the package, sorry, is not any longer here. Okay, what else? That is, I will copy the link in the chat in case that you want to get more familiar with the RStudio user interface. You have a cheat sheet that where you can see all the commands that all the things that you can do with the interface. Okay, what else? For help, imagine that you don't remember, you want to use the function call min, but you don't remember the arguments or you don't remember anything about the function. So you can type question mark mean, sorry, and you will get some help on the bottom right. The help will show you the description, usage, the arguments that you have, value, references, etc., and also some samples that you can execute. What else? Or for instance, okay, this is the name of the function mean, but imagine that is a you want to do a to search functions that are related to mean or that could contain this word. You type two question marks and mean, and if you execute that, you get a search and you get all of these that are functions related to mean. Also, there are I mean, my advice, yes, for help, you can use the help that already R has, and also you can use Google or you can use any other. So I will paste again the yeah. So yeah, to install this the packages, yeah, you need to execute that line. Uh, okay. Let's see if I forget something. There is a fun in case that you want to learn more. There are if we execute this function that is called browse vignettes. If we execute that, a new a window will open with the on your web browser. I will switch my screen. See if that works. Okay, seems that I needed to stop shading and share again. Okay. So when we execute that, a new mm, a web browser is open in the, and we can see like there are some. This is a help in case that we want to learn about the packages. Depending on we have the package curve. That's a table. For example, let me. We will see tomorrow the package ggplot2. So, for instance, if we click here, you have here some help about this package. So this is documentation that is useful to know that that exists in case that we want to learn a little bit more about R. Because what we will explain here are the basics, and but when you apply this to your research, you may want to learn more or to get more, for example, for plotting or to use tidyverse. So it's good to know that you can have some information here. Thing is, yes, there are. Okay, we have for tidyverse as well. Have all of this information in case that you want to learn more about the. Okay, let's switch back to the. Go back to the RStudio window. I see that some of you have an issue with the R SQLite. Is not a problem because uh, on Thursday we will see a tiny example using that package. So perfect. So if the other three packages works, that's fine. It's not a problem at all. The other package we will see a tiny example on Thursday, but in case that it doesn't work, it's not a big issue. What we can do is I'll yes, we can have a look later at the error and see what we can do to solve it. But don't worry about for today and tomorrow. Well, for the course, it's fine. Okay, so yeah, let's start playing a little bit more with R. So R is like a big well, you can see R like also like a big uh, calculator where you can execute some arithmetic operations. Imagine if you execute 3 plus 5, you get an output that is, well, the sum of the addition of these two numbers, that is 8. Well, this is the most basic example of something done in R. Also, a feature that, well, programming languages or when you do some scripting is the first thing that you learn is variables. So we can have a variable called weight um, underscore kilograms, and you can assign a value to that variable. So value for, we will follow the example that is in the documentation is 55. So if we also what I brought here, if you click in Alt on dash, you can write this kind of arrow that is to assign the values to the variable. And if we execute that, we will see that on the top right we have now a new value on our environment that is called weight in kilograms, and the value is 55. So when if we execute that, okay, we get 55. You will see, depending of this is becomes more of a style or more in this the documentation that we are following to assign values to variables. They use this arrow, but you can do the same if you use you can use equal, say 56 for instance, and you see that the value change. Uh, at the beginning, when R was designed or developed, the only option was to use this arrow, but people from that was more that came from using C. In C, to assign a value to a variable, you use the equal symbol. And now R accept both. So this is more I would say this is more a question of style and is up to you. If you search a little bit on the internet, you will find a lot of opinions and a lot of discussion about that, but it's up to you. You use whatever you find it more uh, easier or convenient. I will try. I think I will. Yeah, I will use the arrow, but if you want to use the equal symbol, please do so. Also, some recommendations for variables. Um, uh, there are case sensitive. So if we use a capital letter, for instance, if we use this, we capitalize the first, well, because that automatically change. They said error that object weight kilograms is not found. Well, also, I didn't say that in on R we talk about well I was talking about variables that R talks more of where the R syntax these are objects, but for this lesson we will okay, for other programming languages like for instance Java, these are completely different, an object and a variable, but for this lesson and for our case we will not will be pretty similar. We will not see like more about this. Variables also should start with the characters. We cannot start the variable with the numbers. It's better not to use dot, because you have seen that dots are used when you have a package and you want to, or you have a function and you want to. It's mainly for functions. To when you have a, for instance, dir, and you have a, you can dir create, dir exist. So it's better not to use dot, and also you may get some errors, and yeah, not the best. And also it's important to follow some if you use more letters for our variables, I mean to keep a style in the for the variables. Uh, Also don't I think that I remember give a proper name. I mean that if the variable is weight, yeah, you can use weight. You don't use A or B, because you don't know what the variable contains. So give a proper name to that variable. Uh, okay, well, you have seen before that I have assigned weight kilograms 55, and it doesn't print anything. If I want to print uh, on the console what I introduced, you can do this. You can execute that and surround this with brackets, and you will get that output. Get that the content of this variable is 55. Also, you can do some arithmetics with the, you can multiply the variable by 2.2, for instance, as you can get that result. Also, what here is explained in this, that's a question that could be the, I mean, the answer So, okay, for some of you could be obvious, but yeah, it's not, could not be quite obvious at the beginning. Is okay, there is a variable that is weight in kilograms, that is 55, and I will have another variable called weight, and we will use pounds instead. So for that variable, in pounds is we need to multiply the weight in kilograms by 2.2. So if we do that, let's execute that, and we get that the result, well, we see here in our environment that the result is 121. What happens if I execute, okay, if I update the weight in kilograms, I will update it to 100. What will happen? The weight in pounds will be updated or not? What do you think? If you can type the answer in the chat. Yes, yes, you are right. It's not updated. If we execute that, we see here in our environment that the weight in kilograms is updated to 100, but the weight in pounds is not updated. This is because when you do the arithmetic operation, you take the value that is in that moment. But if the value of weight kilograms is updated later, yes, the previous variable will not be updated. You get like the instant value. So I mean, some people get confused with that, but yeah, it's important to have in mind this thing. Okay, if we go to our code handout, there's a well to save if we modify something is if we press Control S. You see that now it's save, and also you can click here. There is a save button. What we will do now is we will do this small challenge. Well, before doing that, you can see that this is when we type this symbol that I always hash, the hash symbol, I always forget the name. That means a comment. So I can, if I want to add a comment, if I start the line with a hash, is a comment will not take any, will not be executing on the script. What I want you to do is to yes, to execute this and see if to execute this challenge. Please let me know when you are done and we can continue. Yeah, the thing is that symbol in Spanish is called almohadilla. That the translation could be like a small pillow or little pillow. So now you can understand why there is a huge difference between hashtag and almohadilla. That's why I always forget that name. Okay, so yes, thank you. See that I've done the challenge to so the easiest way to oh, see that Colombian Spanish is numeral. That's I didn't know that. Good. So yes, let's solve this exercise. The easiest way is to if yeah, you remove this hashtag, you can execute that with the Control Enter, and you see on the bottom that is well, you see that it's also execute the comments, but you see that there is nothing wrong. I mean, there is no, it's like you see them on the console, but they are not executed. So now you see in the environment that you have this new variable called mass, age same, yes, 122. That case, yes, it's multiplying by 2. Yeah, this is quite simple. My 20 will be 102. And here we will divide yes, mass between age. And you will see, yes, that here you see the values of these. This is the variables that we have in main memory. Okay, so the next thing to see are the functions. We can say, okay, using again the weighting kilograms. A function could be the square root of 10. And what you see that now the weight in kilograms is subdate is different. Some water. So I mean, a function is we have used them before. Is the name of the function, and between brackets we introduce the arguments that we want. That in this case is 10 because we want the square root of 10. Also, there are some. Okay, let's learn this function that is called round. And in case that round is, we remove the decimal part of the number. Well, rounds to the next one. So imagine that we introduce the pi number that is 314,159, and we execute that function. We get round. We get the answer is 3. Let's try with the round. For instance, 3.99. Okay, gets rounds to the value that the nearest whole number. But okay, I'm using this function, but I'm not sure about the arguments of the function. So if we need more information about that, there are several ways we can, with the help, using round. I use it, okay. And we get here some help about rounding numbers. Here we see all of these functions that we can use. We have a ceiling, floor, trunk, but well, this is for help. But in case that we want to more specific information about the arguments, we can use args and the name of the function that is round. Well, also, yeah, round. So, oop. Okay, so there we see the output. We see that the function could have a one argument, and the second argument is not mandatory. If you don't include the second argument, digits will be equal to 0 by default. But imagine that we want to round the pi number using two digits. So we can type round the pi number that is 340.59, and we can specify digits equal 2. And in that case, our output is the we have a two digits of the.
Juan, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, I see that. Is the
John.
Yeah, I was thinking about I actually I was wondering the same that I was told that null is the value that returns, but no, it's returning this. So actually, null I can check later and see what the. Mm, oh, let me check if
Does it mean you
it's.
don't make an assignment to it? Does it mean in that sense? No.
Uh, mm, yeah, there is value for close. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure what that null means. I can check later and let you know the answer. But actually, yeah, it's a good question. When I saw that, I I'll I'll find I'll have a look and let you know the answer. Sorry about that. By the way, there are any other questions? Please let me know. Okay, if not, I will continue with the. Also, this function tells you the names of the arguments. That the first argument is x, and the second one is digits. That is 2. So we can try to see if. Also, for when you learn a programming language, you can. What if I use this instead of this? The best way is to try and see the answer that you can get and play around. Is that also the best way to learn? For example, if I don't introduce digits, let's see if what happens. Gives you the same answer. For some, when you see some scripts, you see that, for example, in this case, digits is included, but this is for more readability, because when you read the function, you read, okay, what that this function does. Round this number, okay, digits 2. For example, if I type this, you see two numbers, but maybe not clear. Also, in R, you can change the order of you can use round and use digits equal to x equal 3.459. So you see that um, we change the order and we get the same output. Okay, now I remember why some people want to use arrows, because you see that for the way to specify arguments inside a function, you need, well, is by default you use equal rather than the arrow. So some people they use arrows when this is like outside a function, but when you are inside the function, the values of the parameters, you use equal symbol. Okay, so I think regarding functions, that's it. And the next is the vectors that, okay, we have some variables, but R is quite powerful regarding vectors. So I think we have here some, these are challenge. So we can have a vector of weight, for instance. If we type weight underscore G, use the sign, the arrow. For a vector, we need to use C and we open brackets and we define the elements of the vector. So we can type 50, 60, 70. And now, if you see the environment, we see that we have a vector, three length 3 with 50, 60, and 70. And this numeric, that this is like a floating point. We can have a vector of numbers, but also we can have a vector of strings. For instance, we can have animals, C again to define the vector, and we can introduce the strings with the quotation marks like a mouse, cat, dog. And you see that I have a vector of three mouse, cat, and dog. Also, because in this case we are using RStudio and we can see the environment, but imagine that if, for instance, you are only using oops, okay, if you use R, like you use only the command line, you don't see that. So it's good to know for example, if we get these functions, that is one of them is a length of animals, and the answer is 3. So you have 3 elements in that vector. Also, well, we see here that this is like a string numeric, but you may not see that if you use only the command line. So you can get that using a class animals. You see the class is the element of the vector are characters. If we use the same for weight, is numeric. Also, we have this vector of animals. Let's print. So we have that. We have a mouse, cat, dog. And what if I want to add animal bird, for instance? I can do it like this. We have animals, sign, and again I create a vector contains animals and also contains bird. If I execute that and I show animals, I see that now I have 4 elements. Also, I can do instead of adding that at the end, I can add this at the beginning of the vector. Animals. Okay, what animal will add? Fox, for instance, and animal. If I print again, I get all of these animals now in our vector. Also, we have seen, okay, we have seen characters, numeric, but we have also, there are other elements like we have a logical that could be true or false. We can have a double, that this is like a double precision rather than numeric. We can have a integer, complex, row. We have all of these um, types, or yeah, types of sorry, classes. So you can use them to the. I see. Well, okay, I think we can do this. Let's do this challenge together. Mm. Okay, I have this new vector, num char, that we create the vector. We have a 1, 2, 3 that are numbers, and we have a that is a string. Is are does R allow to have different types of elements in the vector, or it or will be only one type of element? What do you think? So you can execute and see if that was the answer, but what do you think? You can have different classes in the same vector, or, or should be the same? Yes, so the answer is that yes, only one. You can have the vector could be only of one type. For those that, for example, I think that's different in could be different, for instance, in Python, but on R it's only one. So if we execute that, let me control enter. Oops, no, it's okay, because if we print num, oops, if we print num char, okay, R by default what it does try to keep the tries to be generic, or well, to keep the properties of all the. So for you can see that we have these numbers are now characters. So if we execute class num char, we see that now there are characters. I mean, they try to pick the best class or the best type in order to save the properties of all of the elements of the vector. So you can try with this. Yes, there is a question in the chat that says that if the character is the same as string as in Python. Yes, it's a character, but yeah, it's like a string. So for example, for numerological, we have three numbers and we have a true. We can execute and see what happens. Okay, so if we use logical, we see that true is converted to 1. And I guess that because the thing is true is like could be used as 1, and I guess that if we execute if we use false, we will get 0. Let's see. Yes. This also comes from, I think from, for example, in C, we don't have logical values and need to use either 0 or 1. So I think that's why this is like use for false is translated to 0 and true is translated to 1. Okay, let's see what is for child logical. Oops, Control Enter. Child logical. Yes, case. Yes, the most generic is what that rather than two numbers, true is now a string or yeah, string of characters. And well, this is the theory, the tricky one. Let's see. Yes, it's again it's like translated to characters. Ah, okay, that's a good question. Sometimes when you imagine that let's you use you are typing something and you want to create a vector. Imagine of let's say okay in this because we are using this we use RStudio. At the moment that we open a bracket, you see that the closing bracket is as well type. But imagine that we are copying pasting and there is no closing bracket, and we write 1, 2, 3, and we execute that. If we get a plus, that means that the command is not finished. Is that is cannot be executed because it needs something else. So this is because we forgot the closing bracket. If I execute again, well, now we see here in tricky that is a numeric 1, 2. Sorry, the oops here numeric 1, 2, 3. This is could be good for example if in R if we have a very long commands, we can split them in different and also for in the case that you execute that and there is a mistake or something that you can press escape and you again get this kind of prompt arrow symbol. So yeah, two ways is like I mean, if you forget or if the command is incomplete, you can either complete the command or just press escape and that's it. This is yeah that's good is when you have like a long we will see later that we can have a long command you may need like have several lines for readability. Um, okay, just to finish this part, we have okay the vector, the animals. You see that we have 5, have a fox, mouse, cat, dog, and bird. But also you may want to have an element of this vector. You don't want the whole vector. How can you get that? You can get well now here comes if I want the first element that this is will be a fox. You need to use square brackets and you use a index. But in this case, for the first element, which index do you use? 1 or 0? yeah, f- for for instance, yeah, there are two groups of programming languages we can say. There is a group that use that use zero, like is for instance C. That programming language use zero, but there are other groups of languages that the first element is one, like it's like yeah, Fortran or R. So, for example, in this case, if we want the first element of this vector is we need to type one. So we execute that, we get yes that the first element is a fox. This is a feature that I like of R is the flexibility that it has regarding retrieving values from a vector, because we have the list that is okay. The second element is a mouse, third element is cat, but I can retrieve them in a different order. So if I type animals square brackets and inside I can I can specify a vector with the positions, saying third position and second position, for instance. So I get the vector that I get is with a cat and then a mouse. Also, you can repeat. You can get a new. Imagine that you want to repeat element. You can do animals. You can the vector before we use 3 2, but okay, we can use 3 2 2 1 1 2 3. So you can get a new vector that contains all of these elements with the repetitions. Uh, Also, I think there is a question. Okay, there is a question that says, why does the output have uneven spaces between elements? I think it's, I would say that this is because they use tabs to separate the elements. And that's why, for example, yes, if you see cat, fox, is the names are 3 characters, so there is a longer gap between cat and mouse rather than between mouse and mouse, because I think they use tabs to separate the elements, and that's why you get that output. Yeah, I can admit that for solid, yeah, I find it could be a little bit more difficult to print that in the on the on the command line. So I think that's why you get this. But we'll see later when we use tidyverse that when we print matrices, the output is better. It's not like this. So, but yes, I understand. Yes, that yes, you see, from me the saying I see like the uh, gaps between elements of a different size, and also yeah, makes me like. Mm, okay, we have what also yeah, getting elements of the. Let's come back again to animals, and you can we have given before positions, but also we can use what this is called a conditional subsetting. That is, you can use true or false to retrieve the element. So if, for instance, we use for animals, okay, let's type animals, and we use whoops, is a square bracket C to create a vector, and we have how many? We have 5. So I want the element, let's say 1, 3, 5. So I could use okay, I could use this. I would get fox, cat, and bird. But also I could use true, false, oops, true, false, true. So you get the first element is true, so okay, I get it. The second element is false, no, yes, no, yes, something like that. So you can use that. Also, it's for the weight. We have if you remember that vector that we have 50, 60, and 70. We can use weight. We can use than 50. So what that does is you get that comparison, and this is executed for each element of the vector. So you see that you have a false, true, true. So for the first element, the comparison is false, and for the other two elements are true. Why explaining that? Because okay, for any, I will okay, we'll define again this vector. What I will do is will be a vector, or okay, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Okay, so if I execute that, I get false, true, 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 and true. So I got 4. Why I'm explaining that? Because you can combine. Imagine that these animals and the weight are related. So the weight of the first element is the weight of the first animal, so on. So for example, I can get, if there is a question, which animals have weight more than 50 grams? Okay, that's yeah, the sample maybe is not the best, but well, to learn this. So I can get the animals, square brackets, and here I can type weight that is greater than 50, and I get I get the false, true, 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 and when I use this to address a vector, I get the second position, third, fourth, and fifth. Because we see the whole vector is this. That's why that you get this to. So there is a question in that to append the elements to a vector should be a function. What is used is to I mean one of the ways is to have the vector, and when you create a new vector with the contents of the vector, and then imagine 100, let's say. But yes, I'm not sure if there is a function. I can have a look at that later. But the way that this is included in the documentation is that is also the way of appending elements is that use the same vector and then have the 100. Um, there are plenty of ways to address the. So we have also there is mm, you can use for the weight. For the weight, you can if we yeah, we got 50, 60, 70, 80, but you may want to get mm, a range of values. Imagine that weight, square bracket, and you want to get the weight that is bigger than 50, and the weight that is smaller than 100, let's say. So you get these elements. You get 60, 70, 80, and 90. And also you can do, I mean, you can use the ampersand to use and. Also you can use uh, the bar to use or. For example, you can say elements that are equal. Well, for example, in this case, when you use equal, you need to type twice because otherwise it's an assignment. So you need to use twice the equal symbol. So for example, the elements that are equal 50 or the elements that are greater than uh, 80, let's say. So you got 50, 90, and 100. So yeah, that is a question saying that to select because we are using conditionals to get elements, but to get specific elements of a vector, the way is to use have animals, and we can get the fourth element. We get we just the position of the position of the vector. Sorry, the position of the element in the vector. Ah, that's a good question. Yes, let's that's a good question. So in case that we have several okay, let's create there is an example of this code. For example, more animals is we will create the vector that is animals, and we use C, and I will use 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, for instance. If I see the contents of more animals, I see that they have a dog, bird, cat, dog, fox, fox, dog, dog. So if, for example, I want to get the elements that are dog, so I go to more animals, square brackets, and I use more, more animals equal. For comparison, we need to type twice equal dog. So in that case, you get that there are 4 dogs in more animals. Okay, I see that now is break time. So let's have a break until 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 11:30, and yes, we can continue at 11:30. I'll yes, after I will when we come back, we can see how we can see more examples about how to get how to use ampersand. For example, in that case, if you want dog and cat, you need to type more animals equal dog or more animals equal cat. And in that case, you can get your answer. But yes, let's have a wee break and see you at 11:30.